Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
Now it is time to introduce our main speaker for tonight, Steve.
I'm Steve, alcoholic. Thanks, Jeff, for asking me to speak. I was thinking when I was sitting in there trying to listen to the other guy through the noise that it's been 23 years since I've been coming to this meeting. And I'm trying to think if it was as noisy when I first came here as it is now. It probably is. I mean, I used to get up to some things when I was new 23 years ago. I'm not 23 years sober, by the way. I'm 16 and a half years sober. But when it was originally on Rodeo Drive, I guess that's why it was called Rodeo Meeting. And it was like I'd just been doing heroin for 10 years, and I just was in a rehab in Tarzana. It wasn't a rehab, it was a detox place. It was $50 for 2 weeks. And it was a big room with about 14 beds, and it was full of gangbangers and me. And it was a 7-day detox with methadone. And Big Perry, who I don't think's no longer around, got me in there. And the lady who first saw me walking down Sunset Boulevard with nowhere to live says, "You can sleep on my couch as long as you stay sober." And it seemed like a good deal at that time. I thought I was done kind of breaking in people's houses, bullshitting people for $10 to get a bag of dope. I was kind of beaten up by doing that. And so came out of that place, was sleeping on her couch, and then I remember coming to the Rodeo meeting and thinking, wow, this is a big meeting. It's a big meeting, and I didn't know what was going on at all. I'm sure some of you can relate who are new. And I didn't hear anything. All I knew was it was a safer place than on the street. And it's got a lot of high end on that. You should take some of the top off. It's very, you hear that high bit? Want me to do it? Now you've got all bass on it. Oh. Should we take 5 minutes to do this? That's good. Yeah, so when I got sober, after about 30 days, then I became a sex addict. Because I didn't have sex when I was doing heroin. Not for like a long time. At first, when I first did heroin, it was great, but then it kind of dwindles away, and then you just become limp and not interested. You become in love with heroin, but there's no love going on, you know what I mean? So, hence when I got sober, I was ready to rock and roll with the ladies in the meetings. And I remember in Rodeo, there was a bathroom in the back that I used to have sex in there often at the meeting. I know some of you are disgusted with that. None of you have ever had sex in a bathroom, I'm sure. You know, it's like I was new and I didn't know what was going on. And it kept me coming back. It's crazy. I'm not even trying to be funny, I'm just really trying to tell you what was going on back then. I'm just trying to tell you what was going on back then, because I think that a lot of people come here and they think, you know, we're all sick and crazy, and we kind of pretend we're not. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? If we're really honest with ourselves. And that's just what I was like when I was new. I would just go to the meeting, I wouldn't hear a thing, and I would just like going there because you get attention from people. And you know, I was a mess before I came here, and I was sober I messed around for about a year, getting 30 days here and 60 days here, and relapsed with a bag of dope, and I was freaked out. I didn't want to start doing the dope again. I didn't want to have a habit, so I came back to the meetings, and did that for about a year. And that was my biggest fear of all when I was out there using, was the fear of being sick. That would drive me crazy. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, if you've never done dope before. That fear of being sick was like the worst, and you know, and it always happened because I didn't have any money last few years, you know, and I hated that. I hated that more than anything else, was getting sick, and the depression that kicks in, and the physical, just horrible. Can't describe it if you haven't done it. So I'd come back after doing a little run, get another 30 days, 60 days here and there, and next thing I know, I've got a couple of years, you know, and I still hadn't done any steps whatsoever. I was still, you know, just wanted to get laid, basically. And you know, listen to chapter 5, get up and read chapter 5, really good, and all the rest of it. And I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue what I was doing other than just coming to the meetings, you know. And I guess about after 2 years, I stopped going to the meetings as much. I weren't speaking to a sponsor. And you just slowly backed off, and then eventually I relapsed because I didn't have any defense against it, you know. If you are an alcoholic or an addict, whatever you want to call yourself, you can only do it for so long without, if you're not getting involved, or the steps is the key to it all. If you ain't doing them, you're gonna get loaded. I guarantee you that. And everything I'm saying, by the way, is my opinion. It's not AA. I say a lot of things that are probably wrong, but it's the way it's my opinion. So, but I have seen a lot of people relapse from not working steps. So I'm not making it up. Got a couple of years. Stopped going to meetings, and then I went to a dentist, and he said, "You want some Percodan?" And I said, "Yeah." And then I started taking the Percodan, and then the other part of the disease kicked in, where I had a mind-altering chemical in me, and I couldn't judge anything. All I know was that it felt fucking great to put some chemicals in me after 2 years of kind of not doing anything around here other than just going to meetings. Because that was the kind of feeling I got when I was 15, and when I was getting drunk, I felt great, you know. It kind of made me feel whole and not like I felt in touch with the rest of the world when I first discovered alcohol. I didn't know it at the time, you know, when I was young, but I remember just walking around in London when I was very young, 10, 11, just wandering around by myself, looking for some kind of excitement. And that came with stealing a lot, and hanging out with a load of other blokes, young guys, and, you know, going to soccer matches. And when I was 10 or 11, I was a skinhead. That was the first wave of the skinheads. So there was a connection there. All these other guys, we were all kind of doing the same thing, going to football matches and getting in fights, and after the football match we'd go down these markets and we'd go into the shops and take all the clothes out of the shops, and it was like a sense of freedom, you know. And I was addicted to that for a long time. I never watched any of the football matches. It was just being a part of something, because I didn't like my childhood. I had a stepfather who was abusive, and my mum, who had me when she was 19, a mistake, I suppose, if you want to call it that. And so I left home when I was like 15, and would stay around my friend's house because I didn't like my stepfather. And would just basically hang out with other people, get arrested, got put in a home for a year and a half out in the country, which I really enjoyed. You actually did some gardening and stuff like that, stuff I'd never done before at home. I don't remember anything nice like that, being at home. And I'm painting a very bleak picture of my upbringing. My mum was actually okay. Now I understand for what she had to deal with. We're very poor. She did the best she could. And I talk to my mum now. We have a good relationship as long as she's in England and I'm here. And it's on the phone, you know, and I know I'm going to call her, and I'm going to talk about the weather, and I'm going to say, what time is it there? It's time. It's 8 hours back here. And this is every fucking conversation for like the last 10 years. It's still 8 hours ahead, Mum. It hasn't changed. But that's you know, that's the way it is. And my stepfather died about 4 years ago, so my mother's by herself, and I was actually pleased when he died. That's how much I disliked this guy. I hadn't discovered any alcohol at this point, or drugs, not till I was about 14 or 15. And then I can't even remember the first time I had a drink at all. But I remember once, though, some things that I remember that stick out. And one of them was, there's these pills in England called Mandrex. They're like Quaaludes. Do they still have Quaaludes? They finished. Fucking hell, I'm old. Really, they're gone? They gone? Are they still there? Any newcomers? Quaaludes? What do you take now then? 1980. Anyway, these other pills, the English version, these Mandrex, I remember taking one of them, and you get the kind of same feeling. If you didn't know what these felt like, newcomers, you take one, and about half hour later, you get all this tingly feeling all over you, and it feels like euphoric almost. And then you kind of like don't remember much, you know. But I remember taking these pills in the daytime and saying, "Oh, this is great. I'm never going to have to do anything else other than alcohol and these pills." And for some reason, I remember that. You know, that was like one of these things that I always remember. I don't remember my first drink, but I remember that. And obviously, that was a load of bullshit because I went on to do everything else that was out there. You know, I did coke. I wasn't a big fan of it, but I did it if it was around. I did speed, which I didn't like. I did that too. Black beauties. I went to see this. There used to be this doctor in Harley Street. That's where all the doctors are, the private doctors in London. At this point, I guess I'm like 17, 18 at this point. I got rid of the skinhead thing. Now I was kind of like a hippie at this point, and was wearing platform boots. And I had all the best clothes, man. I used to break in all these shops down King's Road. And back then, they didn't have alarms. There was fucking alarms, was like no cameras, nothing. You could just smash a window, go in there, help yourself, and fuck off. It was great. This one shop I used to go into, it's called Granny's Takes a Trip. No, a couple of people heard it, all right. It was the best shop to steal out of because they were both junkies and they were just in the back getting fucking high. You could literally go in there and like, I'll have that, I'll see you later. And it was all these great velvet suits with like rhinestones all over them. This has got nothing to do with AA, but... They're worth a fortune now, them suits. If you see any labels with Granny Takes a Trip in them, don't take them to a Oxfam. You could get a lot of dough from. So I did that, and I thought I was a rock star. And me and a few other mates, we'd all dress the same, and we'd go down King's Road, and we'd go in this pub called the Chelsea Drug Store, and the Roebuck, this was what we'd do on the weekend. We'd steal a car, we'd drive down there, we'd get out, we'd just pose up and down King's Road, get drunk, try to get laid. If that didn't happen, we'd create a fight. If that didn't happen, someone's shop was going to get broken into. And this was the norm, and it was exciting. It was a lot of fun, you know. I didn't realise that everyone else ain't doing that, you know. I thought everyone was kind of doing crazy stuff like that. Vodka and orange I used to drink, vodka and lime sometimes, and pints of lager. I used to enjoy lager. And I decided to start stealing musical equipment. This thing happened called pub rock. All these bands used to, like, little unknown bands would come up and they'd start playing these pubs, and it was called the pub rock circuit. And I was attracted to music from an early age. I never had any schooling for music, and when I was at school, regular school, I just used to sit in the back and daydream. I think that's what they call it now. There's some fancy word for it. ADD, whatever it is, yeah. I didn't have ADD, I just didn't want to fucking listen to anybody, you know. And I was daydreaming about being a rock star. That was all I was doing, and I don't know why I was doing that, other than I didn't like being poor, and I didn't like my stepfather. So that's where my head went to that. I assessed it as that was the light at the end of the tunnel. If I could be a rock star, everything's going to be all right. And so these bands would play around these pubs, and I would wait till they loaded all their gear up, and then they'd be too tired to take their gear out when they got to their destination, and I would steal their van with all their equipment, and then I'd break into musical shops, and I had all this musical equipment, like loads of it. Saxophones, you name it. And someone said, why don't you start a band? And so I kind of did, you know, and my best friend at the time, still my oldest best friend, he was out a couple of weeks ago actually. It was nice to see him. He started playing drums, I started singing at the time, and we got this other guy on bass and this other nerd guy on guitar, whose dad was had a rehearsal studio. That old scenario, it's like, you know, it's like a cliche really, you know, the idiot who's got the studio and we all use him because he's got the studio. It still happens, that stuff. It's still weird, isn't it? It's a weird scenario. It still happens. And then I remember we had this show, we learnt all these songs, and I was terrified of playing in front of people singing, terrified. And we finally put this show together at this guy's cafe in Kings Road one night, and I couldn't handle it. I was so scared. I had to do like quaaludes, and I was so insecure. But I wanted to do it anyway. You know what I mean? And I just remember being frightened to death. And after it was a mess. It was a complete shambles. We'd never played any shows before, and with that lineup, with me singing, we didn't do any more after that. So, oh God, it seems like 100 years ago, all that. And then long story short, we got on this up. Got rid of the nerd, got an advert for a singer. We got a singer, then we had a band which became really successful pretty quickly. It's called the Sex Pistols, just to put you out of your misery if you're wondering who I am. Because I want you focusing on what I'm saying, all these magical words. I don't want you thinking about, who is he, who's the who? So, where was I? So, yeah, that became really successful. That's when the Black Bombers, the Black Beauties came in handy. I'd never played guitar before. I took them every day for like 3 months, and then I could kind of barely get by with a couple of chords. And then we did our first show 3 months after I'd been doing these Black Bombers, what? Beauties? Bombers, I don't know. Speed things. And they were, you know, they helped me out a lot. They really did. Lost a lot of weight, and the only trouble with them pills is you just keep playing the same note over and over again. But anyway, that band started, and then the first show we did it at, I got that same fear come over me, that overwhelming fear. It's basically the same fear as you get when you're asked to speak here a week beforehand. You know, it's like that, oh, fucking hell. You know, and nothing's ever happened. No one's thrown tomatoes at me any time I've spoke, or, you know, no one's come up with and beat me up or anything, you know. But there's things that go through my head whenever I'm told to speak at a meeting, especially at a big one like this. I get this overwhelming fear. And I guess that comes from being an alcoholic, or certain things that happen as a child, I don't know. Or both, you know. But anyway, we did that show, it was good. I had the quaaludes, I had the booze, and it was great. And then then the party really started once we started getting popular, and then it was like a whirlwind that ended after about 2 years, and then I was left not doing anything, and then that's when I discovered heroin. And that was really, I loved it. I loved heroin. I really did. I actually had a kidney stone a couple of years ago, and I had to have some morphine, and it felt fucking great, I've got to tell you.
Sorry to interrupt your viewing. Taper Dave here. Just wanted to take a second to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you like what you're listening. I've got some very good talks here, and this one's a great one. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Tell me what you think.
I hate to say it, but I couldn't enjoy it because the old paranoia kicked in. Like, you know, in the emergency wards, they have them curtains that go around. And they gave me the morphine and this other drip to kind of calm you down for the... I don't know what they do, actually, but it feels good when you've got a kidney stone. And I kept thinking, the fucking doctor's going to look around the curtain and see me nodding off. And that's all I could think about. Like, he's got a lot more things going on. People coming in there with their fucking one leg just been chopped off. And all I can think about is he's thinking I'm nodding off. He's going to know I'm enjoying this, you know? But, yeah. So I proceeded to do heroin for about 10 years. And I snorted it and smoked it for about a year. And then, because I was scared of needles. And then these two guys who I used to get loaded with, the band had ended. I hadn't got any money. I didn't get any money anyway, but what little dough I did have at the time, we had a dodgy manager who took all our money. The little bit of dough I had went, and then these guys would always shoot it up and I'd snort it, and they looked like they were having a better time than me. So they did it for me once, and that was the beginning of the end, because it felt really good. And then I was a junkie, you know. Then I was a junkie, and I started doing junkie things, like just low-life things that I didn't think I would do, you know. But I didn't have any choice, you know. Didn't have any choice, didn't have any money. And it is a waste of time, man. It is a waste of time. So much energy wasted on just getting high, you know. I don't know what it's like, even if you have money and doing it. This bloke said to me the other day, we was talking about it, he says, oh yeah, heroin, it preserves you. I say, you fucking have a look at Keith Richards, I wouldn't fucking say it preserves you. He looks like he's 200. What a silly thing to say. You look at them old guys in Thailand, wherever they are. They look like they're 400 years old. They're sitting in them little things. I'm so grateful that I don't do that anymore. Heroin or any drink or drugs or anything. And I never thought I'd say that before I came to Alcoholics Anonymous. This went on and on for 10 years, 8 years, whatever, somewhere in there. I ended up living in New York. I was in another band and we kind of drifted out, did all these shows, ended in New York. I decided not to go back to England. Stayed in New York with this hooker. I couldn't think of the nice word. What's a nice word for a hooker? Lady of the night and the day. And then we were staying in the Chelsea hotel, and she was going out working, and I was just sitting there. I sold my passport. I didn't have nothing. And I lived there for a year. And that's a hard place, New York, if you got no money. It really is. But I was enjoying it because it was all new to me, living in America, you know. And New York was pretty cool back then. It was a sleazy place, but it was fun. There was a lot of things going on. This was like 80. There was all these clubs there, the Mud Club and the Danceteria and all these other places that I used to go and steal women's handbags to keep me habit going, you know. And I'm sorry if I stole your handbag. And then that old Alphabet City that was weird. You put the money in this bucket and it would go up and come down. And the cops would come. Puerto Rican, Bajundo, they kept saying, Bajundo. I had no fucking idea what the fuck they were talking about coming from London, around that area. And clueless. Because it don't work like that in London. You kind of go around some guy's house and it's all a big procedure. He bullshits around and plays records and gives you a fucking dope. And then I went to this place in New York where there's buckets going up and down in these burnt out houses, and it was bizarre. Exciting as well though, you know. Then I drifted out here. Oh yeah, the hooker went after about a month. God bless her. And I met this other girl who was a little social butterfly in New York, went to all the clubs, and I hooked up with her, and we started going out, and I lived with her in the loft downtown. Is it downtown? Lafayette, is that downtown? Yeah. With the big lofts and that. Stayed with her, going out to all the clubs. She didn't know I was a junkie. She washed my jeans once and found a needle in them and said, "What's this?" And I thought, "Oh, the game's up." And she said, "Oh, what is it?" "I want to try it." I said, "Okay." So she became using. So the pair of us was off and running for the rest of the year that I was in New York. And started this other band, drifted out here. She came out here. Fucked about for about 2 more years, getting loaded. Or maybe it was a year. And then that's when I was living with this guy. He went away. I sold all his clothes, his wife's rare Beatles records, and all this other stuff. So I couldn't go back to that house when he came home. And that's when I become kind of homeless and sleeping on people's couches. And that's when I found that woman walking down Sunset Boulevard. This is a woman I was getting loaded with in that year before I got sober, who now is not sober. I don't know what she's doing. I still see her around, but she's choosing not to be part of AA anymore. Slept on the couch, came here, and I've had 3 years twice and 2.5 years before I started working any steps in Alcoholics Anonymous. And it wasn't until the last time when I had money, like when I first come in here, I didn't have anything. At this point now, I've kind of got myself together in a financial way, and had a place up in the hills that I was renting. And the last time I relapsed, I remember waking up one morning. I decided I was gonna I'd been on about a month run and I decided I was going to get sober with these Quaaludes. I was going to kick on Quaaludes, and no one in AA was going to know that I'd relapsed, and I was just going to kind of waltz back in here, and no one would know anything. And I attempted that for about an hour, and realised this is impossible. I'm way too gone to think I'm going to clean myself up and come back to AA. And then that was the first time I had this moment of a bottom, like a real bottom, like, oh fuck, the game is up. This is the first time. And that's my bottom. You know, it's not me hanging off the top of Empire State Building with King Kong holding me, with little planes shooting at me. That wasn't my bottom. This was my bottom. It was plain and simple. It was no big drama. But it was like the game's up. The game is up. I hadn't stopped doing it, even though I was coming to meetings for all them years. In the back of my mind, the game wasn't up, you know. And this was the first time it's kept me coming back. That bottom has kept me coming back, you know. That bottom made me get involved with the steps, being, you know, humble, listen, shut up and listen, and take action, which I'm not good at taking action. I'm a loaf. I'd rather just loaf around all day. You know, that's my nature. Loaf around and eat cream pies, you know. I actually get joy from helping others now. You know, when I do nice things for people who are friends of mine, I actually get a lot of satisfaction from it, which I never would have done years ago. The only satisfaction I would have got is if I was getting something, you know. And, you know, I owe everything. This is the only thing I've ever done consistent, is come to AA meetings. And it's fantastic, AA. A lot of people don't stick around here because it does get weird. There's periods where it gets really weird, you know, and it gets really real. It's very slow. But I can't imagine where I would be right now if I was still drinking and using. I couldn't imagine. It would be a nightmare, horrific. Not in a dramatic looking way, just in my head it would be, I couldn't imagine relapsing now, you know. And I sponsor 5 guys. I always have a problem with the God thing. I don't read the big book. I know what I've got to do to stay sober. And I quit smoking 5.5 years ago. I've done a lot of great things in sobriety. Met my real dad, who I didn't know. A lot of things that I thought I would never, ever do, I've done. And it's just a matter of showing up and taking direction. And, you know, it ain't a joke around here. And this is a great meeting for a lot of you lot to make a lot of noise in. I think you need that. I did when I was new, just like a party, you know. But there's going to come a point where you're going to have to get stuck in and get involved if you want to stick around here. That's my opinion. I did learn some things when I first came around here, and that was to get to the meeting on time, sit up front. I didn't do it all the time, but it saved my arse. A few little things like that. Get to meetings, be quiet, thank the speaker. Little things. And you know, if you don't think you're done, go out and get loaded until you get done. You know, because I don't know what your bottom looks like. I can only tell you what mine looks like, and I believe I did have a bottom. It's weird as well, though, you know. The older I get more feared up. And I've started having panic attacks here and there. And I don't like people in my space. I don't like neighbours who make noises. I can't stand barking dogs. I don't know if that's my issue with God, I don't know. But it's still 1,000,000 times better than being on Sunset Boulevard looking for a bag of dope, you know. So I hope you all stick around and get involved and respect Alcoholics Anonymous. And thanks for listening.
I think we got a great talk going on here. Thanks for watching the channel. Taper Dave here. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs, long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, oop, out, in, up, down. And then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. And if that shows up, the gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right, but I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.